In this video, I will tell you which is the best camera for beginners in my opinion. This will be the camera that I recommend buying if you want to start in the world of photography and video and you don't have much money to invest. Of course, because you are starting, aren't you? So basically a camera for beginners with not much budget and that you can use for professional work and that you know that it will last a long time without having to think about buying something more expensive. It's not difficult at all to find a good camera at a good price. The problem is that when you search in Google or YouTube, you always find information about the same thing. Since brands pay and sponsor many influencers, the brands that invest the most in sponsorships on social media are Canon and Sony. So I guess you're understanding what I'm saying. Well, in all brands, these three types of cameras are going to stand out. Compact cameras or point-and-shoot cameras that are small and without much manual control. Bridge cameras that are a little bit larger and have some manual control. And then we have the cameras with interchangeable lenses or mirrorless that allow to have complete manual control, and these are the ones that we will use to choose our perfect camera. Well, almost perfect. Now if you have noticed that I'm not mentioning DSLR cameras, which are within the group of cameras with interchangeable lenses, it's because although you can still find them in the stores, there is no brand that is manufacturing these cameras or their lenses for years now. So they don't fit what we want since we're looking for a camera that will last for a long time. Now if you want to know the difference between DSLR and mirrorless and why I do not recommend buying a DSLR camera, I leave you a link around here and also in the description of a video that I made explaining all of this into detail. Like this you will understand better, so don't judge me. First, watch the video. Okay, then let's talk about mirrorless. Each brand has its entry-level camera, like the Canon EOS R10 or the Nikon Z50 or the Sony A6400. The camera that I recommend and I have as my B camera is my Lumix G85. Now don't ask me why, but in England and Australia it's called G80 and in Germany it's called G81. So why? No idea. Well, this camera is amazing. I bought it years ago, so I used it a lot, so I know what I'm talking about. Many other cameras have passed by me and over time I have sold them or exchanged them, but this one always stay with me. And now I will explain you why. When I compare the Lumix G85 with the other cameras mentioned, which are in fact newer than the Lumix G85, the G85 is better, or at least close to them, but the big difference is in the price. I see the Canon EOS R10 on Amazon for $1,099 with an 18 to 45mm lens, which seems high to me for someone who wants to start. And if you put it next to the Lumix G85, the G85 has even more to offer. The same thing happens with the other cameras, and it's even worse when we compare it with the Sony. The prices are very high for almost the same thing that the Lumix G85 gives you. If we look for the Lumix G85 on Amazon, and this is the first thing I found, I see that it's $200 less than the Canon. But wait a minute, it comes with the lens and with the crazy package. Look at all these things that comes with it. Now if you only want the camera with the lens, it comes even less. And I'm not even going to compare it with the others because they're even more expensive. But well, let's talk about the camera. The Lumix G85 is a 16 megapixel mirrorless camera. Now if that doesn't seem like enough to you, I say no. For video, fewer megapixels are better. And for photography, we have to understand that if someone tells you that more megapixels are better, it is a lie, since that is not always the case. Fewer megapixels means that the pixels are larger and collect more light. I have actually a video where I explain the truth into detail about megapixels and why more is not necessarily better. I will leave you the link here on the top and also in the description below so that you can watch it and you can understand what I'm saying. This is a hybrid camera, so it is good for photography and video, which is actually essential for content creators nowadays. Let's talk about photography. The Lumix G85 is a micro four thirds camera, so it is a crop sensor camera. In fact, all the cameras that I mentioned before have crop sensors. For portraits, it is great, since having the sensor cropped makes the lenses closer to the subject. In fact, twice as close. For example, a 24mm lens will look like a 48mm lens. It has a maximum shutter speed of 1/4000 of a second mechanically. Combined reaches 1/16,000 of a second, which is amazing, and it's more than many newer cameras. The camera weighs 500 grams. It makes it super light for traveling, and we know that after a few hours of taking photos, cameras tend to feel heavier, so 500 grams is very good. Also, if you're traveling or taking photos outdoors, the camera is weather sealed against dust and rain, so this is really cool. The manual control of this camera is excellent and obviously allows you to take raw photos. The menu is also very easy to use. In fact, all Lumix cameras are well known for that. The menus are always easy to use. They are the best on the market. Now here comes something really cool about this camera. The Lumix G85 has IBIS, or in-body image stabilization. The Lumix cameras are actually famous for their IBIS and no one can compete with them. They are just incredible. so you will be able to take photos without a tripod. Of course, don't exaggerate, but the IVs will help you a lot. And let me tell you that it works even better when the lens has stabilization, and most of the lenses have stabilization, so this is a big goal in favor to the Lumix G85. Oh, and by the way, it is not digital stabilization. The camera and its lenses have like a little small gimbal inside. Actually, when I move it, I can feel it. It's really cool. Now let's talk about video, because this is a hybrid camera. Obviously, it records video in 4K because it's already the standard today, and it goes up to 100 megabits, which is more than enough to start with. I have recorded a lot of travel vlogs with this camera, and in fact many videos in this channel were recorded with this camera, and the image quality is amazing. Another thing to mention is that the screen is fully articulable, so you can actually vlog with the camera very comfortable. You can also connect the Lumix G85 wirelessly to your cell phone and use your cell phone as a monitor or a remote control. And because it is also a camera made for video, you have access for microphone and also a micro HDMI port so that you can use it to connect it to a monitor or a computer if you're doing a photo shoot. Basically, everything a professional camera can give you in a fraction of the price. The camera has been on the market for a few years now, but when you compare it with the new cameras in this category, my Lumix still wins. Because it's a micro four thirds camera, the lenses are also very small and very affordable. As an example, I show you this. This is a 100 to 300 millimeters lens. Imagine this lens normally, easily will cost more than $1,000 in another brand, but you can find it in Amazon for $482. And because it's a micro four thirds lens, this actually is gonna convert into a 200, 600 millimeters. Just imagine how much will this lens cost you in another brand. And by the way, this lens has also image stabilization. Amazing. Guys, I hope this video has been useful to you. Let me know in the comments if you want any extra details about the camera. Maybe you want me to do a review, a very deep review about the camera, go outside, take pictures, make videos and show you whatever you want. Just let me know in the comments. Also, I'm going to look for the best price I can find, and I will leave you the link in the description if you want to buy it. And now, until next week.